Welcome to The Preferred List, a podcast about the people behind the best wedding days. I'm James, a wedding filmmaker. I've spent years in the industry working alongside incredible vendors, and this show is all about real conversations with the ones who make it happen. Whether you're a vendor or a couple, you'll get honest insight, good stories, and maybe a little inspiration along the way. Let's meet today's wedding vendor. Hey, Kristie, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good. I'm so glad to have you on.
Glad to be here.
Kristie runs Wild Horse Mobile Bar, which sounds so cool just saying the name. But you guys have renovated a horse trailer into a mobile bar, and we're going to dive into all things bartending and how you even got the trailer and decided to turn it into a bar, which I'm sure is a great story. But before we do, we're here still at Birchwood Venue. Birchwood Venue is where rustic charm meets modern convenience to create the perfect wedding weekend. Nestled in Milton, Pennsylvania, Birchwood gives couples 3 full days to decorate, celebrate, and soak in every moment without feeling rushed. From the hydrangea-lined ceremony space to the beautifully restored barn, Birchwood is designed to make your day as stress-free and memorable as possible. And you told me before, you've done a ton of weddings here, and I know you know Holly.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes,
Love
she
her.
is amazing.
And it's just so cool to see they are continuing to make improvements in the space, and it is really nestled into just like the perfect little cove of wedding venue space, and I love it. So fun. And appreciate Holly for letting us be here and film The Preferred List, the podcast. It's so fun. So Kristie, thanks for being on.
Absolutely.
Have you ever been on a podcast before?
I have not.
I love it. You were telling me before you're stressed, and it's totally fine. And I'm just excited to hear more about your business and how everything started. So you run Wild Horse Mobile Bar,
Yes.
and you have a horse trailer that you converted into a mobile bar.
Yep.
Just give me all the details. Tell me where all of this started, where it came to be, the idea, and everything.
So it all started, my husband and I are fairly newly married. We got married in 2021. And the year we decided to get married, there was another mobile bar in our area. And I had reached out to her, and she had a fairly high deposit requirement for holding your spot. So I kind of thought it was right before Christmas, and I was like, I'm not doing that. So I figured I'll wait until after the holidays and I'll reach back out to her. And so I reached out after the holidays, and she had already booked our date. So I was kind of bummed. I pouted around the house for a while, and my now husband said, if I make you one, will you just stop?
I love it.
He used a few other words, but we're just going to go with that one.
We'll keep it PG.
So I said, absolutely. So he jumped on Facebook. A couple days later, he's like, here's a horse trailer. We went out. It was $400 for the first horse trailer we had. Literally pulled it out of woods and weeds and, loaded it up.
That's a $400 trailer.
Yep. So got it home, and he stripped the whole thing down. He did all the work on it for me. Once it was done, we had it ready, obviously, for our wedding in October. And he's like, this was about April or May. And he said, let's throw it on Facebook and see what happens. See if anybody would be willing to book. So I threw it on Facebook, and we booked 7 events.
That's awesome.
Between May, June, July, and August. So then I was like, okay. So
this
we
is
earned
a
back.
thing that could kind of work.
Yeah. So we ended up, once our wedding was done, we parked it. Ended up deciding over the winter time that we were going to make it an LLC and make it a real business and actually do this. So we turned around and went, and it's actually Wild Horse Events LLC is what our business entity is. So
I thought you were telling me that I said the name wrong.
No,
I was like,
you're
oh,
good.
No, I'm so sorry.
Everybody knows this is Wild Horse Mobile Bar, but so we made it a thing, and
so fun.
So here we are, and we work together all the time. Like, it's usually just him and I. So
yeah, kind of like a little family, small operation.
It's our date night.
Yeah, it's like accurate though.
Yeah.
My wife and I shot a wedding, and it was like, this is gonna be so fun. Like, she doesn't always get to shoot with me because of the kids sometimes, and I do have a trusty second shooter, Pat. Love you, Pat. But when she does, it's just like such a fun little day out kind of together. So it's fun. Did you have the idea like right from the jump that you wanted that like horse trailer kind of rustic vibe, or
no? The one that I had actually seen I found it on Facebook, and so I was like, oh, I really like that. And we were getting married at a barn, a it was actually an old tobacco barn in Jersey Shore. So I was like, well, let's go ahead and just try and book this lady because it was a horse
Yeah.
barn. I kind of figured it would all work together. So reached out, and that's when I was like, okay, let's do this.
Yeah. That's so fun. It's just funny to me. Like, I don't know. Were you guys like business minded before? Like, what was going on before this?
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing. You're like,
Nothing.
we were literally doing nothing.
Yeah, no, I mean, we both work full time,
Okay.
and there was no, I didn't have any desire to do business. I was just like, whatever. But we started to do it, and it was so much fun, and it blossomed from there. So I was like, you know what, let's just do this. So then we decided, the extra little bit of money we're going to start socking aside and kind of see what we can do. So it just kind of went from there. So this is actually our 5th season.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
From would you stop complaining to now 5 years later,
It's a thing.
number of events later, it's like, no, this is a full-fledged business. I know
Yep.
there's this like, maybe there's this like weirdness of like, oh, it's just like a side thing, or maybe it's just like a part-time job, but like you're still a business owner. Like there's still a lot that goes into running and operating your business.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
When you were first starting out, what were those first couple events like?
Oh, they were rough. They were really rough. The very first one, we didn't even think to put a tip jar out. Like, that's how rough it was.
You're like missing the whole like
And people,
payment opportunity.
we had guests literally throwing dollars across the bar at us.
Your husband's like, should I dance? I don't know.
Yeah, he's like, maybe we should stick a cup out. So we
Yeah.
did. And it just kind of went from there. And I was like, well, we make a lot of extra cash doing this.
Yeah.
It just was funny because I'm like, oh, okay, well, and judgment on how much alcohol, like that's, you tune that in real quick. But, that kind of stuff, you learn as you go. And every year there's something new that you're learning and
Oh, for sure.
figuring out.
Just even in business too.
Yeah.
Like it's so true just in business. So you didn't have any bartending background at all.
No. Nope. And actually, my husband doesn't drink. So that makes it even funnier.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah, no, we literally have had 0 bartending experience ever. And I was like, well, let's do the ramp certification. And
Yeah.
so we did that and just kind of went from there. And I'll be honest, there are times where somebody will ask me about doing a certain drink. I'm like, okay, well, I'll Google that before I get there. So that way I know what I'm doing. But most drinks are usual typical rum and cokes and Bay Breeze and stuff like that. So it's really not too much, but
Yeah, no, I love that. What do you enjoy most about bartending, serving the drinks at weddings?
the people,
Yeah.
talking to the families and the friends and even the bride and groom. We don't see the bride and groom a whole lot at the trailer just because all of their friends are always coming up and bridal parties always serving them and stuff. But it's just building those relationships throughout the night with each guest.
Yeah. I'm curious, like, so maybe couples are like, they love the idea of a trailer, mobile bar. Like, how does it fit into their day? Or even like deciding between that and maybe something like that the catering is offering some sort of bartending service. Like, how are you directing couples in that?
I think for us, it's more of the horse trailer itself is just a vibe.
Okay.
It's that experience. It's not a lot of times if you have a caterer who's got a bartender, they're serving from behind whatever bar is set up in the venue. I think for us, a lot of times it's more of like, what kind of experience do you want for your guests? And so whenever they've got the horse trailer, they come out, and a lot of people love the horse trailer.
Yeah.
They come out, this is so cool, and who did the work, and all that kind of stuff. So it's just, and I think for me, I personally think that your bartenders, your caterers, and your DJ make your day.
Yeah.
You could get married in your backyard, and if you have those 3 on point, your day is going to be perfect.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
Sure. And delicious.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know if catering's like fun, but the food makes it.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. That's so fun. So you're really kind of positioning your bartending service as, do you love the trailer? Do you love the vibes of the trailer? does it fit the theme of
Yes.
what you have going on?
Yep.
What, like, for people that are listening or watching, like, what's the trailer look like, and what does it have like in it that kind of helps your service kind of go off smoothly?
So this current trailer, actually, this is our second one. The
Oh, we have
first
two
one,
iterations.
well, we
Love it.
sold the one. Um, the one, the first one we had was just a two-horse trailer,
Okay.
just a little thing. And my husband and I were bumping into each other, and I was like, "This is a nightmare."
Yeah, like I
And
need some floor space.
it had, we were using the buckets of ice for the kegs and that kind of stuff for the tap system. I'm like, "This, we've got to do something different." So, the new trailer is actually a livestock trailer, so it's significantly larger.
Yeah.
And that we actually have a three-tap kegerator in it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we've
That's
got a
awesome.
wine fridge for mixers and stuff like that. It's set up a lot bigger. There's a lot more space, so we can accommodate. And I do often tell people not to pick 25 mixers because it's really not the purpose of having an open bar. It's more of pick a couple mixed drinks and kind of go from there. But there's a lot more space in it, so we can accommodate more drinks, more mixers, that
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
So, kind of staying with that
Mhm.
idea you brought up is like, I'd have to imagine there's a lot of couples maybe listening or watching that are like, oh man, but what do we pick? Like, how do we
Yeah.
narrow it down? How do we make sure that, everyone from best friend so and so to maid of honor to grandma to aunt, like they all have something that they enjoy
Yeah.
enough?
So I often say you can't please everybody. You just can't.
That's accurate.
They all have different
Especially in this
tastes.
day and age.
Yeah.
Can all just like be a little bit more like agreeable?
Yeah. I highly recommend like two beers, sometimes seltzers, depending on your group, and your friends, your family,
Yeah.
what they're going to drink. Unless you're a big wine family, I don't recommend doing a whole lot of wine, only because it's a waste of your money. As far as the mixed drinks and stuff go, I tend to recommend doing like a his and a hers. And usually that ends up being his favorite drink and her favorite drink. The last wedding we did here, his was a whiskey sour
Okay.
and hers was a Moscow Mule. So, they've got those. And then they added like two or three extra mixers just so that way, if you want something mixed with the Coke with whiskey
Yeah.
instead of the sour mix or whatever. So, a lot of times people will just make do with whatever. And honestly, if you're drinking on somebody else's dime, you're going to find something to drink.
Yeah, that's accurate.
They're not going to be picky.
Yeah, so you're kind of like you're getting a couple
Hmm.
options, a couple of variations from the options.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm assuming the like kind of signature cocktails are pretty common for a lot of the
Yes.
weddings that you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do a lot of couples like come to you saying like, "Hey, we want this to be our signature cocktail," or are they being like, "Hey, we like this stuff. Like, what do you recommend?" Like, do you get a lot of creativity with that?
We do. Yeah, we do. A lot of times they come to me and they're like, these are what we would like to do, which is
Gotcha.
great because
Yeah.
then you know what you want. You're
Yeah, you're good
decisive.
to go.
Yeah. It's the couples who are like, I kind of like this, but I kind of like that. And I'm not sure about this. And then that's when you end up with a whole lot of extra mixers and you have a whole lot of extra choices. And then you end up with lines because people stand there and contemplate what they want. And
Yeah.
it kind of like, it takes a while, when
Yeah,
there's
for
seven or
sure.
eight options, then it takes a while to pick it. But
Are there other ways that you've found over the years to like kind of keep the lines flowing, keep things running smoothly? Maybe it's something bartenders can do, or maybe it's something that couples are like kind of overlooking.
yeah, typically when we get a line, I tend to do all the mixed drinks, and my husband tends to do the beer.
Yeah.
Just because then, you're constantly, if I'm making two or three mixed drinks, and I can take two or three people's orders and get those done and out the window before the next group. So I tend to, especially when you only have two or three drinks, it makes it easy. You need three Moscow Mules and you
Yeah.
need two Jack and Cokes. And so it kind of helps you get through the line that way.
Yeah.
And then, if I'm doing mixed drinks, my husband will turn around and do the beers and pour wines or whatever, and we just keep it going as much as we
Keep
can.
things
Yeah.
moving. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you kind of have like a system.
Yeah.
Who
As
does
much as
what?
you can. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No. It seems like there's always a line at the bar.
Hmm.
Um, and I just like I don't know if there's really much to do to get around that because it's just like everyone runs and flocks at the same
Yes.
time
Yes.
after the ceremony, during cocktail hour, or
Yep.
at some point in the evening, like when everyone migrates into the
Dinner time.
dinner time. Like before dinner time, you probably have like a rush of
Yeah.
people like, let me grab a drink before.
Is they're calling tables to go eat, that's when we see a big rush.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we got 5, 10, 15
Yeah.
minutes till
All the
our tables come.
formalities are done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, all the formalities are done. People get up, come out, waiting for their table to get called to go get food. So, um, there's usually during cocktail hour, it's the busiest.
Yeah, for sure.
That's when you see the most. And then throughout the night, it kind of, during the toasts and stuff like that and the dances, then that slows down. And you still have your one or two who come out and get a drink during dances and stuff, but primarily the list or the line is before dinner or during dinner and then during cocktail hour.
Yeah, for sure. Uh, when you're getting there, getting set up,
Mhm.
uh, is your time at the venue generally the same wedding to wedding, or does it change much?
We try to get to the venue about an hour and a half before your ceremony.
Okay.
Just because I don't want to be banging around trying to get things set up. And I don't want to have, if you're doing kegs of beer, I don't want your kegs foamy because they've been moved around and that kind of thing. So we try to get there about an hour and a half early to get everything set up. And then as soon as your ceremony is done, then we're there to
You're
serve.
good to go. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have like a window of time that you're serving generally?
Typically, our base rates have 5 hours of
Okay.
bartending, and that's we don't charge for like our setup and our tear down and all that kind of stuff. Like you get a solid 5 hours of bartending. Um, we don't shut down during dinner. Some people will ask us like, can you shut down for an hour during dinner and go an hour later or whatever,
Yeah.
but people still want to drink
Yeah.
during dinner time, so we try not
Yeah,
to
that is accurate.
just to like stop or whatever. But it's typically 5 hours, and then we do have guests or couples who add more time on. We've had weddings where they've literally added time on 15 minutes before we were supposed to shut down. So it all just kind of depends.
Yeah. Is there like a time frame that you have to stick to with like the liquor control board, or is it just they need to have you there to serve it?
Yeah, they basically just need us there to
Okay,
serve it.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, all that stuff I have like just a very little snippet of information from because my wife Christina, her parents had a brewery in Reading, and so
Hmm.
she was like working for them a little bit and like serving and stuff there.
Yeah.
Um, but no, it's so fun. Have there been like some big standout memories over the course of the 5 years, like memorable moments or like things that really stick out to you as like maybe good or maybe funny or something?
We had a wedding. I think it was our second year in business, and we had a wedding. It was a Tuesday night
A Tuesday night.
on the New York line. We drove to New York. We were
Gosh.
literally across the street was the New York border, and they brought in the bride got her groom a drag queen
Oh,
for a show. Yeah,
that's interesting.
that will be forever burned in my head.
Try to bring a little trailer.
Yeah, yeah. So, it was one of those, it was this beautiful Victorian. I honestly don't think the trailer matched real well, but they needed a bartender outside. So that's how that
Oh
fit
yeah.
him to play.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
yeah, it was this big Victorian house, and two drag queens came in and had a dance, and it was definitely entertaining. And it is a night that I will never forget.
Oh, for sure.
Tuesday night.
Yeah, the Tuesday thing. I'm still stuck on that.
Yeah.
As crazy as the rest of the story is, the Tuesday night, it's like, oh, that's a random Tuesday night.
We did have another Tuesday, but it was a Taco Tuesday. They
Oh,
had a
that's fun.
taco truck come in, and yeah, that one was a lot of fun too.
Yeah, I would be stuck at the taco truck for sure.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of like the bartending service that could get out of control. Not
Hmm.
on your end of it. Obviously, you guys are, you know, behaving yourselves, but there's a lot of guests that maybe are not behaving themselves.
Yeah.
I'm just curious how you are able to kind of keep things upbeat, fun, but also like keep a lid on some of the stuff that can get out of hand.
Yeah, we tend to pay very close attention. So when you have a guest who's starting to stumble or their clothes are starting to come off, that kind of thing.
Man, you
Um,
should have been at the wedding. Like this is the end of September. Uh, we've seen some clothes come off.
yeah. Yeah. So when they get to that point, we start to cut back.
Yeah,
We're not going to mix them strong just because then we know that they've got to get home somehow, or sometimes they stay at, on site and stuff, but
yeah,
we definitely try to avoid issues. So as we see that things are starting to get a little out of control, then we kind of cut back drinks, and we definitely pour heavier for cocktail hour
yeah,
because then they're having a good time, and then they get dinner in them, and then they're good to dance for a couple hours. But
yeah.
but
Just like slide them into the party.
yeah,
Like, all right, let's do this.
yeah, exactly.
Um, so there's bound to be different vendors that you guys are working with. Some honestly not too closely, like photo, video. You're not probably having too much other than me coming up and be like, "Can I get a Coke?"
Yeah.
But I'm curious, just like how does that work for you guys working alongside like planners? They have coordinators. Maybe some of the catering company might be like working alongside you guys. Even the venue.
Hmm.
What's that kind of process look like for you guys?
We try to reach out. I ask the bride every event. I ask the bride for whoever her day of coordinator is, and I try to reach out to them. A lot of the venues I've worked with, we get a lot of the repeats.
Okay.
We've been here at Birchwood multiple times, and there's other venues that we've gone to. And honestly, it's a referral thing.
Yeah,
You've been to a venue once or twice and they like you and they're going to
for
keep
sure.
referring you
Yeah,
out.
for
And
sure.
so those venues, I don't really reach out to them too much unless it's brand new. I try to make sure that we know what each venue's policies are for serving, and are they allowed shots and that kind of stuff. Because if there's no shots allowed on site, then I'm going to make sure that our bride and groom know that there's no shots
Yeah.
and that kind of thing. So um, I definitely reach out to them. Photographers, we don't really deal a whole lot with, other than, like you said, getting a drink or whatever.
Yeah.
But the caterers will work alongside them if they need help, refilling ice because they didn't have enough, or, anything like that. A lot of times they'll ask us for waters because the caterers get thirsty and,
For
they
sure.
need stuff. So, we definitely work with them and whatever they need. And I try to talk to our DJs too, just to make sure like I know what the timeline is, if there's a dollar dance, when that's going to be, and last call and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I'd have to imagine maybe the venue owners or maybe some of the planners, they have coordinators type, you might do the most like back and forth
Yeah.
with. Is there something that venues could take from this episode that like, hey, if you did this one or two things, the bartending service for us would just be like so much easier, so much smoother.
I think, and it goes along with the bride and the groom, knowing where to set up the bar. A lot of times, if we pull in, we pull it with a truck and we pull in and the serving window's on the passenger side of the car. So there's certain places we can't back into certain places. We
Yeah.
can't pull into certain places. So having a spot available for the bar to be able to pull in and serve, and even if it was another mobile bar that maybe their serving windows on the other side, just making sure that it's an easy access, because there have been times where we have literally unhooked the trailer and moved it by hand.
Yeah. I was thinking like I've seen some of those like hydraulic jack
Hmm.
systems like with the
Yeah.
wheel on it. I feel like the like little controller.
Yeah.
I'm gonna like see you guys like setting up with this like little controller. It's another thing that you guys could probably buy.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll have
Spend money on.
to.
No, but that's so fun. So having like a dedicated space,
Hmm.
even like thinking ahead of like, hey, if we did ever have a mobile bar come, or some sort of trailer, whether it's ice cream or whatever it might be,
Yes.
is like, if they do come, this is a great spot for them to kind of set up
Yes.
shop.
Yep. And honestly, making sure that there's electric hookups, because there are a lot of times where, like, we run a kegerator
Yeah.
off electric. We can bring a generator, but it's sometimes easier to hook up into
Sometimes a
electric.
little quieter too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely much quieter. And, if they have an ice cream truck or another vendor who's the taco truck, that kind of thing, they're going to need to plug in or run a generator.
Yeah.
So, a lot of times it's just nice to make sure that there's electrical and a decent place to set up that's not up a hill. And
Yeah, right. Or somewhere you just can't take the truck.
yeah.
I'm curious if there's anything that you wish couples knew about like running the bar side of things at a wedding, like before even reaching out and trying to figure out who might be the best fit for them. It's like just something you wish they knew.
I think for couples, when they are starting their planning process, really sit down and think about what you want. If you're not avid liquor drinkers, do you just want to do beer and wine? Um, Doing your homework with your bartenders is huge. We're just a little couple, we're not a big outfit or anything like that, but we put everything we've got into it, and we try very, very hard to make sure that we're personalizing every event to every couple. So finding somebody who's not just going to be like, oh, here's the typical rum and coke, and here's the typical two beers on tap kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
making sure that you're really talking through with your any vendor, honestly, like what your needs are, so that way you're really honing in and not spending money that you really don't need to spend.
Yeah, which honestly, if you're finding vendors that have that intention behind everything,
Hmm.
you're going to end up with a better service, a better team,
Yeah.
and really like just a better day overall.
Hmm.
If you're able to kind of navigate some of that beforehand.
Yeah.
I'm curious, over the course of the 5 years that you guys have been running the business, what kind of like tools or systems or strategies have you guys used to kind of maybe help things run smoothly or even just help your business grow over that time?
Facebook has been huge for us to get our business to grow. Um, we get a lot of word of mouth. 5 years ago, we started off with 6 or 7 events, and we just kind of blew up from there. We've had quite a few people who book because their friends got married and we bartended at their friends, and they just kind of keep going from there. And then we've actually had sweet 16s with mocktails. We've had graduation parties with some non-alcoholic and some alcohol drinks. We've done surprise 50th birthdays. So it's just growing that way and
Yeah.
expanding to
So
not
what,
just
yeah, so
weddings.
not just weddings.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so many avenues. I feel like even photo, video, I'm not sure about planning maybe a little bit, but
Hmm.
there's so many avenues that you could be kind of dipping your toes into.
Yeah.
But what about Facebook worked so well for you guys? Was it like organic posts? Was it ads? Was it
It was going into all the different wedding pages
okay?
and posting pictures, and, here's our price sheet.
Yeah.
Here's what we do.
So that's still working
Hmm.
as kind of a source of leads
Yep.
and okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Whenever, I mean, I'll be honest, I haven't been posting a whole lot just because I wanted to get through the season
Yeah.
before before starting
Probably a lot of vendors.
yeah.
Again, this is September, so
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of times, and honestly, we have a lot of people, I don't think they think about their bartenders, right? So they wait until 2, 3, 4 months
yeah.
ahead, and then they're like, oh, I need a bartender. So then they're booking and they're reaching out. And at that point, most bartenders are already booked.
Yeah.
So when you're booking your photographer and your caterer and your venue, reach out to your bartenders too.
Yeah, I'd
Because,
have to imagine like because I feel like a lot of people find a photographer with maybe a date. They might not even have a venue.
hmm,
Like photo could be like first thing. But if you get a venue and a caterer and you're trying to find a bartender, from what you're saying, like go for it
yes.
right away.
Yep. even if it's just to pay the deposit. And that's how the one thing that we used to do was they would reach out, we would book them, they'd pay the deposit, we would figure out what they wanted to drink at that point. Well,
Gotcha.
when you're booking a year and a half in advance, things change.
Yeah.
You might go to another event and try something else. You're like, oh, I really liked that drink. I think I want that to be my signature or whatever. So we've actually revamped it that now when you reach out and you book, we sign a contract to save your date and we take a deposit that's non-refundable. And then closer to your time, about 8 weeks out, we talk. We go through what exactly it is that you want to do.
Yeah.
What are your drinks? What are your mixers? And then your price is based on that. So that way you're not changing your mind
Yeah. Later on.
later on. And then, yeah, because a lot of times what was happening, and we kind of had to sit down and reevaluate, like, this isn't working. We would have somebody who would want, let's say, vodka cranberry. And then they would turn around 6 months beforehand and be like, oh, I want sour mix and I want this or I want that. And they wanted 6 or 7 other drinks. And we were losing money.
Yeah. Because what do you
That
do at
first
that
year.
point?
Right. That first year, like, we really didn't do a whole lot just because we had so many people changing their minds.
Yeah.
And at that point, we were just doing 2 signature drinks, not based on mixer. So we definitely had to change that.
Yeah.
that real
Oh, for
quick.
sure. For sure. So it seems like it's a great like in between of like they can book you, get the date locked in, they know you're going to be there, and then once they figure out what they want later, because it's so true. I don't really drink a whole lot of beer anymore. It just doesn't really like sit well. Maybe it's because I'm 32. I don't know. But I just don't drink a whole lot of beer anymore. And if I was asked like 2 years ago, I might have said like this beer or that beer.
Right.
And it's just like it can change. And like you're saying, it's going to save your couple's money in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it's going to help you guys too.
Yeah.
A little bit on the business side of it. Well, Kristie, thank you so much for being on. It's been so cool to hear your experience and just like the like no experience of bartending, service, business, and like nothing. And then now here you are 5 years later with Wild Horse Mobile Bar, being successful, doing a ton of events. It's so fun to hear all of that.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for tuning in to this episode. I hope you enjoyed hearing Kristie's story, her journey as a business owner. If you liked the episode, make sure you're sharing it with all of your friends. And if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe so you get up-to-date information on all the new episodes that are coming out. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening to this podcast, appreciate it if you just leave us a little review. Let us know how you're liking the podcast. And that's all for this episode. We'll catch you next time on The Preferred List.